Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Everyone loves a clap. This is the In Too Deep podcast, and I'm excited to introduce you my guest today, Miss Alanna Lacioppa.
Great pronunciation. Thank you.
I've just learned that before.
Yeah.
I used to be able to read it, but I just was not quite sure. I was going to say it Lacioppa.
Lacioppa, I get it all.
A good Italian woman you are.
Yes.
So Alanna is a good friend of mine. She's one of those people that I met at university. We're both studying a master's of psychotherapy and counselling, and we just connected straight away. Mm-hmm. She was like an instant soul sister.
Yeah.
And we've got a pretty good crew at uni. Shout out to, all our uni mates, all of the uni pals. And we have a good time there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go on coffee break. I'm doing somatic exercises on my coffee breaks, and, I'm excited to have Alanna on the show. She's been through a lot of adversity, come out the other side pretty well, you'd say.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
We're still working on it.
We're still working on it, yeah.
So she can definitely share some wisdom, because in those painful moments comes wisdom. So she's going to share some of that with us today and tell us a little bit about the somatic practice that she has been, honing her skills on. Mm-hmm. So welcome to the show, Alanna.
Thank you. Great to be here. Great intro.
Okay. Well, tell me, first up, who is Alanna Lacioppa?
When I thought about how to answer this question, it was very long-winded. But I would start with I'm God. I have a very kind of deep spiritual belief, and it just, I could say, what I study, how I work, my family history, but it really underneath it all, I feel like we are just souls that exist that are actually part of God. And when I say God, I don't mean strictly in any particular religious sense. I am much more aligned to kind of Hindu, Buddhist philosophy. Yeah. So I guess that part of me is God, and the other part is this Alanna Lacioppa living this life in this skin this time around.
Me too.
Yeah.
Outside of. Okay, are you sort of talking to the philosophy that we are all one?
Correct. Yeah, that we're all like one consciousness. Okay. And it's just interesting. I feel like we can get really caught up in what I call the drama or the play of it all. Okay. In the the thoughts and feelings and emotions, and that's obviously a really important experience and part of being human. Okay. And underneath all of that, there is this part of us that exists that we all have, that's never changing. That when we die, will, in my kind of belief, will live on. Yeah. And that to me is kind of God, and love. To me, it's kind of one and the same thing.
Okay, I like that. You're sort of saying that, underneath Alanna, we're essentially kind of, I can't remember which book it was now, some spiritual book I read about how we're essentially kind of almost actors in this movie of our life. We decide what identities to pick and choose for the day. Yeah. What we like. I'm Geoff, the personal trainer. I go to the gym. I wear Nike clothes and dress like this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just the concept of the self.
And it's really difficult for me to even describe, say, what you just described so easily about yourself, right? You go to the gym, you do this, because even that part of us is always changing. So whatever I say now is not going to be relevant for me in another 5 years' time, because who I am will be different. Yeah. But that part inside me will always be there and is always the same. Yeah. And I really like how you describe it as like actors in a movie. I think about it like a play. And what I would say that sheds a bit more light on who I am in this lifetime would be that I feel like I'm living in a dark comedy romance play. Like it's like dark shit happens and you got to laugh at it. Okay. And there's been a lot of love along the way as well. So that's been my experience of life so far. And yeah.
Well, I think that's a good segue. You sort of mentioned the dark stuff that's happened, and you've had a lot of death from people that are close to you. Yes. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, let's get into it. It's difficult to know where to start because it's such a long story, but so I guess I would start with I'm the youngest of 4 girls, and growing up it was us 4 and my mum. My parents separated when I was quite young, but I was actually born – this is the belief that I had for a really long time, and I'm working to rewrite this kind of narrative, but I was born as a carer for my sister that was just above me. She was born with pulmonary fibrosis, which is a lung disease, and was kind of consistently throughout her life told that she wasn't, well, my mum was told she wasn't going to make it to preschool. She's not going to make it to kindy. She won't make it. So I was kind of born as a carer with her. Along the way, my mum actually also got sick. So my mum had a double lung transplant when I was 10. My sister then had a double lung transplant when I was 15. Both of those experiences are quite, like, they're literally, so I hope it's not too graphic, taking your lungs out, both of your lungs, and putting in new lungs. It's a major operation that they go through. So, and what happens with most kind of organ transplants, depending on which organs they are, it's essentially prolonging your life. It's not really fixing it. Yeah. It's not forever. And most people go through something called rejection, where your body actually cuts it out. Yeah, it's tells it to like get out of me. And most people die of rejection. So what happened was my sister, when she was 26, had a second double lung transplant, which in itself is quite rare because your body's already really weak because she was rejecting for a long time. She had a second double lung transplant. 6 months go past. She has the best time of her life. She's like, I can breathe again. I can walk around. Like literally, I can walk around. That was a blessing. Went traveling with her then partner. He's taking a photo of her and goes, oh, suck your tummy in, just because it was like kind of protruding a bit. And she's always been really thin because just the effort of breathing, she was just burning calories all the time. So she goes to suck her tummy and she goes, I can't. She starts to feel a bit of pain. When they get back, she gets checked. So this is 6 months after her second double lung transplant. And she's got terminal cancer in her liver. And what you can see is tumours growing. So then she gets given a 6-month kind of sentence. And 5 months later, she passes away. So that was when she was 27. She was like a month into being 27. And yeah, she passed away at home with my family all around her. And that was probably one of the hardest times of my life because me and her were so close. We were like twins, like we were sharing a bedroom till we were like 15. And I also think so much of my purpose was caught up in her. So her kind of no longer being there felt actually a big relief because she's no longer in pain. This pressure of caring for someone was no longer there. And for a minute I was like, wow, is this how everyone else feels that don't have caring responsibilities? All of a sudden you're just free to do whatever you want. And actually it felt more scary because for so long my purpose was set. My purpose, I was born into with a purpose to care for her. So yeah, when she passed away, that was really difficult. And then over the next 18 months, my mum also developed liver cancer, and passed away at home 18 months later. Okay. And I do feel like for my mum, it was almost like I've done my job because my sister was no longer there. Now I can let go and let whatever needs to happen. Yeah. And that was that. So thankfully they were both at home, which was really a blessing. Like I really don't know how people do it in hospitals, like to be able to have them in their own clothes, in their own home, walking them to the bathroom and like watching TV, whatever we wanted to do, we can do together. And there's no external people kind of telling us that we have to leave because visiting hours are over. Yeah. It's like, it feels absurd. Like this is someone's life ending. So I really feel for everyone who experienced death during COVID, because this was during COVID, but we got to do it at home. But that end of life experience has really, I can say so many things about it, but really I'm just grateful that we got to do that. And I just wish that more people got to. I wish it was a more common experience. Yeah,
that sounds about spot on there. But tell me more about how you got through that, like the first death. Like, I guess, did you kind of have your whole life to prepare for this moment in a way? Like,
like I and this is where I guess the trauma piece comes into it. Like we grew up pretty much in hospitals all the time. So it was really common for me to be in that space. Things like school, don't get me wrong, I did really well at school, but I didn't care about it that much. Like, and it just puts things into perspective. It's like, cool, I don't care if I get a good grade as long as I pass. But really my focus is my family. And it was tough. It was really tough. I quit my job. I made a decision to quit my job and stay with my sister. And what happens is like every moment becomes really precious. You get really present. And I think that gave me a lot of solace after she had died, because I knew that I did as much as I could to be with her.
Yeah.
But how do I get through that? I'm still going through it. Like my best friend, both of her parents passed away within 18 months of each other when we were 21. Very shocking, big surprise. And it's been such a strange like soul journey that we've gone through together now that this has happened for me. And she said, I said to her, when do you start feeling normal again? Like when is grief not so crippling? She goes, give it about 5 years, which I was like, fuck, like that's so fucking long. Yeah. Which I've just hit the 5-year mark. Okay. So I'm like definitely starting to feel a little bit more, I won't say myself, because something that death, at least for me, did is showed me that like you can't go back. Like there was a lot of grief for who I used to be before death. This, not to say I wasn't exposed to, say, anticipatory grief, where I was just waiting for this thing to happen that we kept getting told was going to happen, which is like in itself, you're just sitting in your sympathetic nervous system all the time. So I'm waiting. And then, sorry, I've lost my train of thought.
Okay. I want to hear a little bit more about like, you know, you said when death is looming, it's really easy to be present. And
yes.
I always think of like, do you have any advice for anyone? Because, you know, hearing stories like this, and it's only momentarily, it'll make you, you know, hug loved ones closer for the moment, and then you're just straight back into just like normal life, worrying about shit that doesn't worry. Like, how can we be more present with our loved ones without having death loom above us? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, I don't think it's a bad thing to have death in the back of your mind, but maybe that's because of what I've been exposed to. Like, to me, it's not this like this anxiety sitting in the back. It's a awareness that it's something we're all going through. It's something that we're all going to have to go through. And it's the great equalizer in life. To be human means you will die, you know? And if anything, for me in those, what I would suggest for people, I read this book by a man called Stephen Covey when I was quite young, 8 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yeah, I've got that.
Of course you do, yeah. One of the things he says is, you know, start with the end in mind. And he gets you to kind of imagine what your funeral's like. And when you're on your deathbed, how do you want to have lived your life? What will you look back on your life and be proud of and happy? And what maybe would you want to be different? And can you bring that into everyday life? So for me, I really think it is a practice. Presence itself is a practice. And in those moments, like I do it with my dog. She's a Great Dane. She's only 8 months old, but they have a really short lifespan. And I look at her still now and I go, you're going to die one day. Not that she knows what I'm saying, but I'm like, you're going to die one day. And it just makes me so much happier and grateful to be with her. And I do it with my partner and I do it with my family. Like but it's a practice. So what I would suggest for people is do that practice of what might it be like when you die? If you're sitting on your deathbed, because it's going to happen. I know it's scary for a lot of people, but it's just the reality of this life. What are you going to be proud of, and how could you live more presently?
Can you tell me what you're most proud of?
What am I most proud of? I love hard. I love really hard. Like, I don't hold back. I'm very vulnerable. I think emotionally sometimes I can hold back, but I do feel like I can put everything on the table. And I'm really proud of that, because Brene Brown says authenticity breeds authenticity.
Yeah. And that's hard, because like to love hard means you can lose hard. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And I just read a quote in a book by Irvin Yalom, which I think you've been reading some of his stuff. He's a psychotherapist, and he said, you know, he was dealing with one patient who she just seemed like she just sat on the surface all the time, and she wouldn't let him see all of her. He just felt quite bored because she wasn't revealing anything.
Was this the overweight patient?
Correct, yeah.
We're reading the same book. So.
Yeah.
Loves Executioner. It's an absolute crack. I didn't think it'd be a page turner, but
it's so good. Yeah. And there's a bit where he says, it's like to love. I want to come back to this because I want to say it correctly, but it's like he says this better, but holding back from love is essentially kind of trying to protect yourself from those moments of death. Let me find the quote for you, but it's really good. It's essentially saying that when you're not vulnerable, you're protecting yourself for the inevitable loss that will happen. Yeah. And that's something that's been kind of hard to actually accept, that everyone you love you will lose.
Yeah. Nothing's permanent, right? And that's very Eastern philosophy. Detach from everything.
Yeah, the impermanence of it all. And there's something about we've both been through a divorce, and something that really came up for me after that was like, you have to choose the people that are worth hurting for. So everyone that you love, the only people that are really going to hurt you are the people that you love, because other people that hurt you don't really care about them. So it's not really going to hurt. So how can you choose people in your life that are actually worth hurting for? Because eventually you'll lose them, whether it's through death or another way. I just think that's such an important part of life. Like, relationships, I think, are the hardest things you're going to do in life. And I'm really curious to hear more about what your experiences have been in that. But
what's your biggest lesson throughout your divorce?
Watch out for projection.
Say more about that.
Yeah, you have to really I believe relationships are a sacred mirror. So the partners that you're calling into your life are reflecting something back to you. And you, first of all, I would suggest to choose partners who are willing to do the work, who are conscious that a relationship takes work. That work is usually your own work. So I'm sitting with my partner, something comes up, he's showing me something about myself. Automatically I start getting defensive, like thinking that's yours or don't do that to me. And then I realize this is actually a pattern. My friend said to me, if it is historical, if your response is hysterical,
it's history.
Then it's historical.
Yeah. I said that on this podcast.
Yeah. And I really feel so definitely choose a partner who understands relationships take work. Because great, you can be infatuated and feel that like initial feeling in love, and who knows how long it lasts, a couple of years maybe if you're lucky. And then slowly it's like, oh, you start to see this person as a person with flaws. And love, I don't think, is enough to keep a relationship together. I think it takes a level of commitment. And that commitment to me is I'm here to do work. And that work is on myself. And you can find a partner that they're not willing to do the work, and I do feel a little bit like that was my experience. So yeah, number one, find a partner that can do the work, and they're not putting their shit on you, and you're not putting your shit on them. Yeah. And then that's where the projection piece comes in. So what we tend to do is find partners that we're replaying a pattern where there's some sort of comfortable dynamic, even if it's like uncomfortable, it's comfortable in your body. Like, I've done this before. I know what this feels like. Whether you're playing out patterns of your parents, like maybe I see my partner as my dad sometimes, and all of a sudden I'm like, don't tell me what to do. And it's like, that's not actually what he's doing. I'm playing out something that happened in the past. And what he gets to do now as my partner, go, that's not me. What's happening here? And then I get to check in with myself and go, oh, wow, yeah, okay. Here's this mirror he's just put up in front of me. Yeah. And I get to choose what to do with that. And I think a lot of people live unconsciously and they just respond instead of sit back.
Yeah. Well, it's so helpful to have a teammate, a partner who's, like you said, doing the work. It sounds like your new partner is like able to hold space and
absolutely
give you time to sort of process and think things through.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm curious about what you would say would kind of things that you'd want to be looking for in a partner now. Or what's your biggest lesson?
My biggest lesson is we end up hurting ourselves by choosing people who aren't suitable to us. Right? I think we push a round peg into a square hole a lot of the time. And yeah, I think my biggest lesson from my divorce is probably just like not trusting my gut. I think deep down I knew it was over, and it's a really hard thing to, especially when you have kids involved as well. It's a really hard thing to accept some of those negative emotions. And I think as a young man, and men in general are really good at like suppressing their feelings and emotions. And yeah, I think as a young man, I've really struggled to anything that was going to be really challenging. Like, hey, I probably shouldn't be with this woman I've been with for years. I would just put it in a little box and just like put it way in the back of my head. But like when I look back and just look to my gut was screaming at me for like a long time that this is not for you. And I just didn't listen. I just kept going. I'm still learning a lesson to listen to my intuition, but that's one of my biggest focus is just listen to your gut. Your gut knows so much. But then it can get tricky sometimes because with trauma, your gut might be going off when things are actually fine.
Yeah. Someone said to me once, you know, how do you know if it's like fear or intuition? Like how do you know when you're feeling something in your body, say like in that moment with a partner, it's like, are you actually just scared and it's a trauma thing playing out or is it your intuition? And I've heard fear screams, but intuition whispers, which I really like. And obviously that takes time to kind of come in touch with what's happening in the body and recognize what intuition feels like for you. Yeah. But I think it's a great thing that you are using your body as a data source. You know, we tend to get stuck in the mind. It's like the sunk cost fallacy. I've been with this person for X amount of years.
So long. I've got kids now, so like let's just keep. And we gave it a crack. I think we honestly both tried the best that we could, right? And then things just didn't work out, you know.
Yeah.
But someone doing the work is hugely important, and actually doing the work is like I think a lot of the times they can kind of, you know, listening to people's words are very different to watching how they behave because people can say all the right things, and I've had a lot of situations and relationships where people say all the right things, and you know I sort of let them get away with things that I probably shouldn't, and then their behavior is totally different.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think it's almost one of the most dangerous parts when people are not self-aware enough to even recognize that what they're saying is not actually true, or that what they think of themselves is not what you're seeing the behavior. And this is where the part of I want a partner who's willing to look at themselves and do some work is so important because it's going to happen. Like, how could it not happen? No one's perfect. Yeah. Shit is going to get kind of dragged up in a relationship that maybe you've been keeping down.
Yeah.
And it's so important to be okay to check in and trust your partner. Like, okay, let me just be curious. Just stay curious. Yeah. Like, is what they're saying, does it resonate? Because it's also trying to work out, is this their stuff that they're putting on me or are they actually showing me part of me, you know?
And my biggest thing, like I played team sports like my whole entire life. And for me, it was always, I wanted to feel like I was in a team, and I don't feel like I had that in my last relationship.
Right.
And just like you said, you're going to be teammates. Like,
yeah.
You're going to look out for each other.
Yeah.
It's going to be back and forth. And you both have to be doing the work.
And the other thing is like, it's you two against the problem. It is not you did this thing to me and now you need to fix it. Like even if I'm, I don't know, say I'm just being really short with my partner, his response is not like, stop being short with me. It's, hey, I'm noticing this. Like, what can we do as a team to help? And vice versa. Yeah. Like, if I'm like, you know, I need more physical touch from you, it's not, you need to touch me more, like, because I love to cuddle. It's, what could we do? Like, is there anything that I could be doing differently? So coming together as a team is so important, especially when kids start to get involved. Like, I've got a puppy and that's enough to be like, fuck, like, I don't know how people do it.
Kids definitely throw a spanner in the works for sure. Let's rewind a little bit. So you mentioned your purpose, your whole life up until your sister's death was to be a carer. And you said there was freedom in her death. So what did your purpose look like after her death? And was that easy for you to jump into quote unquote a new purpose, or what did that look like for you?
That's a great question. No, it wasn't easy. And it's funny because my whole life I had anticipated she'll die before me. So I can't attach this purpose to her because what happens when she's gone? And it doesn't matter how much I intellectually understood that, the actual experience of it happening was very different. It was what happened afterwards was I took a break. So I quit my job. And I was lucky enough to be in a financial position that I could do that. I was working kind of corporate, quit my job. I actually spent a year I moved cities. I went regional. I was somewhere really quiet with my ex-partner and best friend and literally just spending time in nature and like just being with myself and giving myself as much time as I needed. I did go back into kind of corporate work. And that was more because it was comfortable. I knew what I was doing and I actually didn't know what else I could be doing yet. But what did become clear to me was sitting on a computer for like 9 to 5, 5 days a week was not what I should be doing. Like I literally felt like part of myself was shrinking and slowly dying. Like in yoga, we call it Agni, the fire within you. And my flame was so small, which happens with grief. I think that's really normal. But it was noticing like, okay, all of that those parts of me that felt so fulfilled just being in the presence of my sister, how can I use what I learnt in that experience and how to take care of her in a professional sense? Life is way too short to spend a majority of your time in a job that you like are not lit up by, that doesn't, fan the flame of your Agni. And that I recognize it's a very privileged position. Like not everyone has that. We grew up really financially insecure. So I just want to acknowledge that. But luckily I do have that. And so what I started doing was I did a yoga training. So I became a yoga teacher. I started doing that on the side. And I started shifting into more caretaking professions because my job was purely financial. That's what my goal was. I'm getting all the other stuff from my life at home. No way do I want to go and be a carer professionally. A chef doesn't cook at home, So, but that's gone now. So how can I use those pieces of me? So that's why I know kind of what brought me into, well, first I was studying a diploma of psychology. I recognized that was a bit too academic for me. It felt like they were breeding me to be a researcher and it was very kind of diagnostic. And then psychotherapy kind of showed its face. In the background, I did a somatic coaching course as well. So I've got a diploma in somatic coaching where essentially I just wanted to use all of those skills: presence, awareness, attunement, love, just like sitting in that space of love. I want to have deep and meaningful experiences with people as much as I can and be vulnerable with people as much as I can. Not sitting in a corporate space where you're like,
that resonates with me so much. And I spoke about this in one of our earlier guests, I think Rachel Pfeiffer. I went to uni, got a Bachelor of Business, had zero interest in any subjects I did, literally just box ticking, getting in there, getting out of there, thinking I had to go get a suit and tie job. No one was putting pressure on me to do this. This is just what my social circle was doing. Went and worked in marketing for about a year and a half, and I was like so depressed. And then when you say your flame was like so small, I just was just a shell of myself. I actually developed this weird sweating thing where I would like sweat profusely every day at work, even in the middle of winter. And then when I quit, it just went away. I had no idea what the fuck it was, but
Again,
my body was just going, you fucking hate this. Like, get out of here. And similar journey to yours, you did yoga, I did personal training, and then just felt like, I don't know, definitely more of my calling, being with people, connecting with people, seeing people grow. That's the stuff that really lights me up. And that's sort of why I've gone into the psychotherapy realm with you also, because like that's the stuff I want to be a part of. When watching people have those aha moments, when their brain sort of ticks over, when they're thinking in a new way or they can see something differently, that's the stuff that gives me the juice,
And this speaks really well to what we learn at uni. So one of the kind of frameworks is existential therapy, right? And it's all about meaning making, and that they talk about that if you're experiencing anxiety or depression, or if you're feeling anxious or depressed, there's something actually internally that's not right. That the reason you're experiencing that is because you're being told by your body that I'm not in the right space right now. There's something that is misaligned and I need to have a look at my life and realign. And look, that's a blanket statement. I'm sure it's not true for everyone. But I do think in this case, it's like your body is such a great tool to what's the word? So your mind is not hijacking everything all the time. It's like your mind is designed to think, like your heart is designed to pump blood, right? So of course it's always going to fucking like what's the most logical step? Okay, but what about like the spirit? What about the soul? Like what's happening in your body in this moment? Like we are not just our mind.
100%.
So
and being
good on you.
Thank you. And being purpose driven it can be hard because like a lot of people don't have the luxury to go, I'm just going to, like we live in Sydney, right? Like people need to make a certain amount of money to live in this area, to support families in this area. So like they can't, say your passion is rock collecting or something. They can't just go become a rock collector and continue to have the lifestyle. So it's hard for people just to up and leave jobs they hate a lot of the time to do other things they love. So I think it's important for them to link what they're doing, say they're doing a job they don't like, to what their purpose is. Say it's caretaking for my family, and so be able to make the link and going, cool, I'm going to work for my family to produce money, and this is going to help me get through the day.
Absolutely. And I think it's also important to recognize even in these corporate spaces, like there is purpose in it, right? Businesses are entities on their own, but they're created by people. They're run by people. What their output is impacting people.
Yeah.
So any job you can frame it in a way that is helping people.
Yeah.
So I was working in change management, which is kind of like project management. And what I would say to myself is like, well, this is the closest thing I can get to that's going to make me money and that is purpose driven, because I'm helping people through a journey of change, just in the corporate space. And now I get to do that in a therapeutic space, which, I feel, really blessed.
Well, that's a good segue into the somatic stuff you've been doing. The exercise you took me through was actually a game changer for me. The one on, having two decisions. And
great.
picking
Yes.
two items. I do that one all the time.
Yeah.
Tell the people a little bit about what somatic work actually is.
I tell you about what I do because I think there are a lot of different streams when people think about somatic work. So I'm trained in somatic coaching. So what that is think about a coach. You've probably heard of a life coach. And it's quite similar to therapy, where you have a target or something that you're trying to work on or towards. The difference between coaching and therapy, I guess, is that coaching is a little bit more, it's not surface level, but you're not really trained on how to deal with things like trauma or like that deep inner child work. Not to say it doesn't come up. It's just not specifically trained on it. When you add somatics into that, it's using the body as a tool, as a data source. So instead of just saying, I've got this decision to make between A and B, I don't know what to do, and talking about it, in somatic coaching, we can use experiments. So it's deeply rooted in 3 different kind of psychotherapeutic practices. One is Peter Levine. He wrote a book called Waking the Tiger, and that's all about your nervous system. And it's the stuff about like the body keeps the score. It's understanding that we are part of nature. Why do animals go through trauma and not experience, like not hold on to it? Why don't they get sick? They're literally in life-threatening situations every day, and they just go back to normal. And it's because they go through a somatic experience after you'll watch a deer gets chased, it gets away, it physically shakes off the energy, and then it goes back into its normal experience. So it's not holding on to any of that trauma. As humans, what we tend to do is forget that we're part of nature. We don't do the screaming out loud, a big sigh, a shaking of the body that we might need to do after we've experienced something that's activated our nervous system.
No processing is what you're saying, right? No processing.
Yeah, we're not processing, we're suppressing.
It's funny because I think about the way that you sort of dealt with your sister's death. Like it was the opposite of what I hear. Like a lot of people, they do more. They drown themselves in work. They go to the gym a million times, drugs, alcohol, anything to not feel. But you took a year off. Like you said, you moved to the countryside. And I guess you got a good year of just feeling. Like, and just being, right?
Yeah, and not to say a year was all it took. I mean,
no,
like
of course, it's a good Kickstarter.
Absolutely, yeah. And I can say more on that, but I'll keep going with this, right? So there's the Peter Levine work, which is we need to physically express and move through an experience rather than suppress it, which is what we tend to do, which is where a lot of kind of physical illnesses come from. Then there's Ron Kurtz. He does something called the Hakomi Way, and they're very experimental things. So the practice we did together, which we could do an example of here if you want, is about doing experiments, having a really curious mindset, having a topic and checking in with the body and using tools around the space to help give you insight into how you really feel, not what you're thinking about it.
Well, let's do the one you have found most useful for clients. If we can do it quickly on the show. If you think people can do well playing along at home.
There's so many. So I think the most useful one is felt sensing, which we probably won't have time to because it takes a while to drop in, but you're essentially dropping into where you're feeling it in your body and letting that part of you speak to your mind rather than your mind doing the work, your body's talking. But what we could do is object feedback, which is what we were doing before. Okay. So do you have a decision that you're currently confused about?
Always.
Okay.
This brain
Do you
of
want
mine.
to share what that is?
No, this one's a bit private.
Okay, this one's private. Okay. Do you have two
Oh,
clear?
no, I can share one that's not as intense as that one. So I've been talking to you about uni, whether pulling back a subject, because I moved up to full time and I've just felt really fucking overwhelmed. And I feel like life's coming at me a million miles an hour. So I'm considering dropping a subject and going a little bit slower, but taking longer to finish. So I'm really tossing up which one to do that.
Okay. So the two options I'm hearing are, do I continue full time, say 3 subjects, or do I drop a subject and go a bit slower? Okay. So let's start with the first option. You're going to continue full time. How embodied do you feel in this moment? Can you feel what's happening inside your body?
Yeah, it tenses up.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Just because, it's been fucked the last semester. Yeah.
Okay. Have a look around the room, and I'd just like you to choose an object. You got it?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me what that object is?
It's this blue cup.
Great. I want you to go place that object somewhere around the room. Perfect. Okay. And now we're going to look at the next option. So option B is to drop down, take it a bit slower. Just have a look around the room and choose another object for me. Yep. And then just go around and pop it around the room.
Does it matter where it goes?
No. Wherever's intuitive for you. Great. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the mug first, this blue mug. So when you have a look at that mug, I just want you to check in with your body. What's happening in your body when you look at that? It could be, what colors do you notice? What's the shape, the sensation? Where is it facing? How is the light hitting? Anything about that?
I feel it more internally, like I can feel my stomach tensing up because I know what it represents. So yeah, it's a lot of internal stuff. And I usually get a lot of the feeling stuff in my stomach.
Okay. Yeah. Can you describe a little bit more? So it's tense.
Yeah, it's tight.
Tight.
Yeah, just tightness.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now we can move to the second object. So this is a camera, if people didn't see, little camera case. What's happening when you look at that?
It loosens up. My stomach loosens up.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. What have you learnt already?
Well, I know, it's funny because I know that one decision is going to be more calm for me. But part of me is just like, no pain, no gain. Put your head down, get it fucking done. Do you know what I mean? So the one side of me is like, I know it's going to be painful, but, put your head down for a year, get it done, or, take a year and 6 months and go slower.
Look, I think there's something really interesting about energy, right? Like something can be hard but not feel heavy. Something and not tight,
Yeah.
Like you could know this is going to be tough but still not feel tightness. You could be feeling like, just like a lot of energy coming at me. It doesn't mean it's, negative. Something could feel really light and actually feel a bit off-putting, like you could feel a bit ungrounded and a bit like flighty. Yeah. So I get what you're saying, but what I'm hearing is your mind is starting to come into the picture again, right? You're like, logically, I know this is why I'm feeling. But if we just try and let the mind go and tap into the stomach and what's happening in that area when you sit with each of these pieces, really it's just a physical representation of the choice, right? You get to get some space from it. You get to observe what's happening in your body when you look at it. And so I'm not going to tell you what the right answer. You have the answer. So I'm curious after hearing that you can do something hard without it feeling.
Yeah.
Has that shifted anything?
Yeah, totally. It makes a lot of sense, right? Because there's been times when I've taken on a lot and I didn't feel the same stress and anxiousness that I do with this. So it definitely comes into play.
And I also think we kind of live in a system that in itself is quite broken that tells us we need to do it now, go. If you no. And it's like, I don't know, how is that a life to live? Like where you have the choice and the freedom to be able to take it at your pace. Like why put the pressure on yourself to do, and I'm not saying pressure's a bad thing. It makes diamonds, right? Yeah. But again, there's a difference. It's like I could be at the gym and like on the cross trainer, and there's a difference between me being like, you have to make it to like 2Ks, you have to keep going, versus I'm just going to do one step after another. Like, I'm just going to keep, great, I can feel it in my leg. And then all of a sudden I've done 2Ks. Like there's a real, I think, the energy that you bring to the space when you're making a decision, when you're practically doing anything, particularly when you're creating something, it needs to be from a space of like acceptance and like there's a lightness to it even when it's hard.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I love that. And I think like, I don't know, as a young man and like you teaching me even these little like really quick exercises, being more in tune with your body is so fucking important. Like I said, in my marriage, I think my body was screaming at me to, you know, potentially leave or earlier than I did. And I didn't listen because I wasn't in tune with my body. I'd just push it all away. So you're saying somatic work is really just learning about the signals that your body is sending you.
Correct. And I think some people can get confused about like, you know, somatic practices, which is like shaking or breath work or correct.
Yeah.
And in therapy, what we learn is that is a, what is it? You need to have a cathartic experience. So first you want awareness of whatever the issue is, right? Having some sort of intellectual insight into the problem. Then you want to shift into catharsis where I'm feeling it. I'm not just thinking about it. I start to feel it. I'm emotional about it. I can scream about it. I'm letting it out. And what we learn is the last part is like, how do you bring those two together and have something called like a corrective emotional experience? How can we shift whatever this thing is into something that is useful for you and positive? I know that sounds a little bit kind of fluffy, but in practice, it works really well.
Okay. We're here for the fluff.
Yeah.
Okay, Alanna, I want you to tell me, when was the last time you surprised yourself?
Oh my God. I struggle with this question. I feel like I see life in shades of grey, so answering questions so definitively is difficult. And I also believe that I struggle to surprise myself because I'm such a deep thinker. So I'm pretty conscious in most of the things that I'm doing. But I will say life surprises me a lot. And the last time life surprised me was probably when I met my current partner. And it was just a beautiful reminder of like, you just never know when you're going to come across someone who you feel like you have this soul connection with just, you know, in an instant.
Yeah.
And it keeps me full of faith. It's like our friendship and other people from uni. It's like when you meet someone that you're like, oh, we've kind of met before on a similar vibe. That feels really important to me. And I know it sounds kind of like, oh, what you're just saying, you get surprised by meeting people that you connect with. And I'm like, I actually think it's rarer than people perceive it to be, at least for me, because I'm such a deep thinker, because I've been through a lot, because of my previous trauma, it actually takes me a while to feel quite safe and connected with people.
So tell me, were you looking for someone? Because a lot of people say, hey, you know, stop looking and the universe will send you someone in your lap. Or like, how did it happen for you?
No, I've never looked for my partners. They've always found me. I don't know why. I'm really lucky in that.
Okay, so no dating apps, just like...
No, I've been on dating apps, but it wasn't through a dating app. No, the dating apps were just like, I've just got to know what this is about. Because I was in a 10-year relationship when I was like 15 to 25. And then had like a year and a bit break. And then my other partner came in. And then another year and a bit break, and then this partner came in, right? Yeah. So I haven't had much time being single. So the apps for me was just like, I want to experience what this is like because everyone talks about it, and I don't like it. And I feel really bad.
I don't know if anyone likes it. Like, I don't ever heard anyone go, I love the dating.
It's the best thing that's ever happened, man.
Fucking traumatic. This is terrible. This is fucked. Everyone here is fucked.
Oh, God.
It's nothing but negative reviews for dating.
Yeah. And that's what most people say, right? I just want to meet someone through a friend.
Yeah.
So, no, I actually met my current partner at a yoga teacher training. So we both did a yin yoga training together. What was fascinating was, and he knows all of this, I wasn't actually physically attracted to him when I met him. And I was at the time with my ex-partner. My ex-partner and I were in an open relationship, but it wasn't polyamorous, which means we weren't having multiple partners. Yeah. It was just non-monogamous, which means we could sleep with other people if we wanted, right?
And how did you find that? Because like... everyone loves the thought. Everyone's like, oh, I get to sleep with other people. I get this. But like, there are challenges with that. And so how did you navigate those challenges, aka jealousy? What did that look like for you?
Oh my God. It's taking me back. Look, I'm in a monogamous relationship now. I think it was really helpful for me at the time because I do struggle with jealousy. How did I navigate it? It's going back to my kind of faith and my belief that like my job here is not to keep you controlled and contained. And why does you loving me mean that you're not allowed to explore other people? Why is our relationship something that's going to stop you from having other experiences when the kind of point of this life is to just experience, I believe, right? Experience this life as this form. So for me, remembering that, noticing where the jealousy was coming up in my body, noticing that actually it's just a fear of loss and like fear that I'm going to lose them to someone else, and remembering that like A, love is not based on sex, and B, that if that person chooses to leave, that's not about me.
Yeah.
Right? So just continue. It's like little mantras sitting there and just being present with myself, and like, especially when it was happening, I know that they'd be out with someone else.
Yeah.
And it's not to say I didn't have challenges. Like they
No,
still,
of course, it's not going to be easy. You just, you sit with the emotion, let it pass, it sounds like.
But for example, for this one, right, with my current partner, when we met, not physically attracted to him. We sat down, we talked for like 2 minutes before class when we did a yoga practice, a 2-hour kind of class. And just the whole time during the class, my whole body felt like it just wanted to be on him, which was very strange because
there was no physical attraction.
No, which is so weird, right? Yeah. Like I look at him and I wasn't physically attracted. My body was like, yes, I felt really comfortable like after that. We talked for a couple of days. And at the end of the training, we went out for ice cream. And he's like, I just have to tell you, I was disappointed to hear you were married, which I loved that he was just so upfront and vulnerable. And I was like, oh, okay, now I'm getting really attracted to you. And then I was like, well, we're non-monogamous, so we could do something if you want, but we couldn't remain friends. And he goes, well, I would much rather have you in my life as a friend than someone that we've just been together a couple of times.
Yeah.
And so then we became friends, which was really great. It was really good to be like, cool. It really turned into a friendship. There was no underlying current of like still this attraction. It was like, cool, we're making a conscious decision that like we're just friends.
Did you still have that pull in your body towards him, or that kind of died?
It felt just safe now.
Okay.
The pull just dissipated. I think it's just kind of infatuation, right? But then I'm also like, maybe it was just this part of me that's like, don't worry, someday you are going to be together.
Yeah.
Really great friend. And I guess it surprised me that we ended up together because we had pretty clearly been like, we're just friends and we're keeping boundaries. Yeah. And then after my divorce, he was
still hanging around in the friend zone.
Still in the friend zone. And he actually went to like a relationship like workshop with Rachel and Bevan.
Yeah.
And he came to visit me in this regional town that I was living in, and we just talked through as friends all of these relationship questions. Like, what do you look for in a partner? What's most important? Like purely just to like, as you do with friends. I do it with my girlfriends. I do it with my guy friends. And we were just so fucking aligned. And then I made the first move when we got back. And and then
chivalry is not dead.
No, and then we've been together ever since. And this is the thing, like I feel like my experience is so different. Like I haven't been single for that much in my life. Love's found me pretty easily. I'm never really looking for it. Even in that, I'm actually always consciously like, I just want to be with me. I actually think one thing that really helps is recognizing or believing that if I were to be just by myself for the rest of my life,
you'd be okay.
I would be so fucking good. Like not just okay. It's like I would love it. Like I love to be with me. I don't have to answer to anyone. There's no collab. I get to do everything just for myself. And I think because I had that belief, it just kind of dropped in. It's having that almost abundant mindset versus that scarcity mindset where you're, I'm just
needing to fill up.
Exactly. It's like, no, I'm full by myself. And there's like, oh, this is another full person. Great.
How do you get to that stage? Because everyone understands that in theory.
Yeah.
But it'd be a self-worth thing, right?
Oh, dude, I don't know. I feel like it's different for everyone. Like for me, I think because growing up as a carer, it almost felt like a bit of freedom, the idea of not having to be answerable to anyone.
That's huge.
Yeah, I was like, shit, I can do whatever I want forever. That's wild, like so I'm not sure how it will work for other people. Are you experiencing this like scarcity mindset at the moment?
Yeah, well, I feel like I've always been in relationships, and I think this is the longest I haven't been in a relationship, like maybe a year and a half, something like that. But I definitely feel like the pull to want to be in a relationship.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, maybe if I was single for longer, or if I was a different age, it would feel different. It's just I feel very blessed and grateful for the way it's kind of played out for me. But I don't know how I have friends who I think are the fucking shit, and they just can't seem to find a partner, and I find it's really sad.
Yeah.
Like so I don't know. I just keep telling them like, but you're great. Like even if it's just you, like come live with us. Like, you know, like let's have a throuple. Like, you know, like.
They're like, no thanks. I need
Yeah.
Okay, tell me, if you could have a drink with anyone dead or alive, who would it be?
I love this.
And what are you drinking?
Okay. I don't drink beer. I didn't drink alcohol till I was 24.
Wow.
Other drugs were my drugs of choice.
Of course.
And then I was thinking about this as well. Like, so have you heard of Ram Dass?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ram Dass, it was a professor of psychology at Harvard in like the 1960s. He went through the whole psychedelic movement with Timothy Leary, and then went to India, found a guru, and came back as Ram Dass, which I think means like servant of God. And what he did was bring Eastern philosophy to Western psychology. And all his message was about how to live in presence, in awareness, and in love. And actually, these two tattoos both on this arm are about him. So this one here, that's the chair, which you like to joke is the Gestalt empty chair technique.
Loved it so much you got a tattoo on the technique.
Is actually the chair on his book Be Here Now, which is one of his most popular books that he wrote in the 70s. And it's all about kind of the lessons and revelations he's had and ways to live a kind of loving, present, aware life. And then this tattoo here, which is two hands holding each other, is his quote, "We're all just walking each other home." And I really feel like sitting...
Oh, was that his quote?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was him.
Yeah.
I love that.
God, fact check me, but I'm pretty sure that would be embarrassing.
Quotes are just so like, who fucking...
I don't know anymore.
Let's just roll with that.
Yeah.
Let's roll with that.
I said it, it's fine.
Yeah.
We're all just walking each other home. And this was one of my first tattoos, actually. And for me, it was very, very relevant to my life in walking my mum and sister home to death. Because to me, home is where we go after death.
Yeah.
That's our real return to home. And this is just the kind of play. So, I would love to sit with him. I had no idea what I would say. I think I'd just be sitting there in awe of him because even his presence just feels like it's almost like it's similar to what happens in therapy, right? We get taught, here are all these qualities that you want to bring into the space as a therapist. Unconditional, positive regard, attunement. Well, I'm not going to list them off, but it creates this kind of it's like you're kind of stepping into another reality in that moment. Not often do you find people who will bring those qualities to a conversation just generally outside in life. But in a therapy room, you get to have that. And people like Ram Dass, and I won't say other people because I'm not sure exactly, but definitely him, I feel like you'd be in a space with him that he's so authentic and so open and so loving that it would almost make you feel uncomfortable because you're like, this is weird. This isn't how people are, you know? It has this almost godlike quality where his identity kind of started to kind of shed, and it just felt like he was living in his state of loving awareness most of the time. And I would love to do that. I don't think that's my purpose this time round, but to me, I just admire that so much. And like this chair for me is actually about sitting back in my seat of loving awareness. So sitting back in that state of presence, in that capital S self, in that consciousness, rather than sitting up front, which is like the mind and the feeling and the Alanna and the identity. So it's just a reminder of like what I believe we truly are and what we're really here for.
Yeah.
Not to say I always remember. Sometimes I look and I'm like, it's a chair.
Gestalt chair.
Better sit down. Like,
You didn't say what you were going to be drinking. Smoking you?
Oh.
What are we doing?
It's whatever he's okay with. I'm whatever. I would probably let him choose, but I imagine it's some sort of like chai latte or like something like that.
Okay. Love that for you.
Yeah.
Tell me something that you couldn't live without.
That I couldn't live without?
Yeah.
Yoga. Which is funny because like I'm not practicing very much at the moment, but like yoga is not just the asana or the physical practice. It's not just the poses that you do. That's one of 8 limbs of yoga.
So funny you say that because Bevan also yoga practitioner.
Really?
The exact same thing.
Did he?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I just feel like it was a real turning point in my life. I feel like it helps guide a lot of my decision making now. Yeah, I just don't think I could live without. And like I said, I'm not even practicing that much, but I think the learnings are so deeply ingrained in me now that if I had never learned that, I don't know who I would be. Yeah.
That's beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Everyone do yoga.
Have
you done yoga?
Yeah, I go through phases where I'll do it for a couple months, but it's always the first thing to slip. You know,
Yeah.
I'm always going to do strength training and running first, but like when I'm doing it, I fucking love it. But like if my life gets too hectic, it's the first thing to go. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting because it's probably the thing that's going to help you the most when things,
Potentially.
because it's like a therapeutic practice on the mat.
Just the breathing, the presence, yeah,
it's all about the presence, right? It's all about the reason sometimes all you can do is think about where your physical body is placed in this moment is to help you get out of your mind. Like if they're like, move your foot here and then lift your leg here, it's a practice of getting out of your mind and into your body. Then you get into Shavasana at the end, and that's just like a full. Shavasana is actually called, in English, means corpse pose. And the idea is that it is preparing you for the ultimate surrender, which is death.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like an angel of death. I'm like, yes, I'm going to do
angel of death in your t-shirt.
I do actually. This was my mom's. Yeah.
Oh, it's cute.
It's just like the time is ticking, right? Like it's always kind of just sitting there.
Yeah.
But I love them. I'm not like scared of them anymore. But yeah, Shavasana to me is like, it's just such a therapeutic practice. So it was a great gateway into therapy.
That's amazing. So tell me, as a young Alanna who's going through all this stuff with your sister and your mother, you know, think of one of the darkest moments you were going through. Like, what advice would you give to that young Alanna going through those tough times?
It's all temporary. This too shall pass. You are love. Love is not going anywhere. You'll never truly be alone, even if you're going through the experience alone. You're always held by something more. And that was really clear to me a couple of years ago after my mum passed away. I went to Peru and did an ayahuasca journey. And one of the most scary parts of it for me was what came up was I was crying to myself in my bedroom. I was like, if anyone was listening, I sound like a fucking crazy person. But I was in the bedroom and I'm just like, I don't want to be alone. And so what I notice now is like that's a deep fear of mine that I'm working with now. And from an existential perspective, it's like we are kind of always alone. And it's learning how to accept the duality, right? Two things can be true. It's like everything that you do in this life, you're kind of doing by yourself. Yeah. Yes, we're a social creature. We've got people supporting us, but like you're only accountable to you, really. And you get to make the choices. And you go through the experience of birth alone and your mum, and you die alone, even if you're surrounded by loved ones. And at the same time, you're never truly alone. There's always that something in you. There's always this something holding you, supporting you. And for me, it's like just go out and sit under a tree for a bit and notice like that you feel held. That's like you're not alone. Yeah,
and having that, you know, you mentioned the oneness with everything around you as well. That's hugely important. And it's funny because that resonates with me because when I do I started doing the IFS work on myself, and that was my underlying thing is like I don't want to be alone. That was beneath all that stuff. So
it's a really this is what's really interesting. It's like we're such individual beings as humans, right?
We all have very similar fears, traumas, worries.
There's these underlying themes that kind of permeate throughout humankind. It doesn't matter what culture you're from. And this existential dread of there's a proper term for it, but for being alone it exists for most people. Yeah.
It's funny because I think there were three common things, like every human problem comes down to three things. I can't remember what the third one was. One was I don't want to be alone. One was I want to be like worthy of love. So like I want to be good enough. And I can't remember what the third one was, but every human issue comes down to just three simple things like that. Yeah. And it makes sense. Like, I don't know. It's funny, the duality of life. And I think remaining curious is one of the most important things you can do in life because like, yes, we have all of these. So say as a therapist, it's one of them. We could see a client that reminds us so much of another client, but if we start projecting the other client's experience onto this person, we could miss the mark. So staying curious about, okay, cool, maybe you have these themes that I can see, but there will be something that makes it individual to you. So it's this strange thing of like, we're going through it alone and we're also the same as everyone else and we're actually eternally connected. It's like,
Yeah.
Two sides of the coin, right?
Yeah.
100%.
Dichotomy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about the best piece of advice you've ever been given, and who was it from?
Oh, let me think about this one. The best piece of advice. I don't know. It would probably be one of the things I've already mentioned. Like, we're all just walking each other home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, for me, and I don't know, maybe it's because I've dealt with death so much. Maybe it's a coping strategy. So I'm always open to, like, I could be wrong. Like, everything I say, I'm like, maybe. Like, maybe
today, maybe
that's
tomorrow.
Exactly. Maybe that's the thing. It's like, don't be, it's probably the non-attachment, which was through yoga. Like, don't be so attached to your ideas and believe. We were just talking about this. Don't be so attached to them, because they're going to change. And if you start attaching your identity to these things, you're going to be so shaken up and dysregulated when you're proven wrong. You're going to get so defensive to make them stay here because they're part of my identity. And if you take that away from me, then who am I? Rather than, oh, this is just something that I believe for now. I'm open to, like, tell me what you think about it, you know? Like, so staying curious. It's
Detaching from the outcome. Yeah, we've been through.
Yeah. And it's I think it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But I think take always everything with a grain of salt. And anytime you say something, maybe. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So just mindful of the time, Missy. Is there any other messages you would like to leave to the people?
I think pay attention to what parts of you you're not letting into the light. So, say in internal family systems, there are parts of ourselves that we might feel shame, confusion, judgment for. What that does is keep them stuck in this space. How can you come into contact with parts of yourself that your logical mind maybe doesn't love? How can you come into the contact with loving awareness, which is a lot of what we do in my somatic coaching, and bring them into the light? Carl Rogers, who was a psychotherapist, I love psychotherapy, was a psychotherapist, person-centered kind of approach, and a great quote I love of his is the curious paradox is only when I fully accept myself as I am, then do I change. And so you can't force yourself into change. You can love yourself into change. Again, Rach, who you've had on the podcast, said to me once, if whipping yourself worked, don't you think it would have worked by now? You know? And I love that. It's like, yeah, actually it's a lot harder to love and welcome the parts of you that you don't like. Yeah. That's a practice. But by doing that, that's how we start to transform.
Yeah,
so,
and getting to know yourself better. I think I just got a Carl Rogers book. I think it's called Becoming Myself. Which
great.
Is just like,
I
just
can't
the
wait to
title
hear
alone.
about it. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I got so much out of that. So many aha moments for me personally, like just at a normal time at uni. So
Yeah.
my soul sister, thank you very much for coming on.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Tell the people if they want their lives somatically changed in any way, how can they follow you and find out more about you?
Yes, I'm on Instagram. To be honest, I don't love using social media. So
We're going to change that though.
Yeah, I know. I have to change that. I have to lean into the fear. That's another message, lean into the fear. It's Aligned by Alanna. So just at Aligned by Alanna, and you can go to www.alignedbyalana.com as well. Yeah.
Amazing. Guys, thank you so much for listening this far. If you like the show, please rate us, like us, share it with your friends, anyone who might find this useful. And thanks again for listening.
Thanks
again for coming on.
Yeah.
Peace.
Woo!